All these conveniences are making us useless. Today, people are so preoccupied with beauty that they forget everything else in pursuit of it. This, of course, suits the European way of life. With their screwdrivers in hand, Europeans are constantly creating beautiful new things that are supposedly more practical so that people will not have to move a finger. In the past, the tools we work with made us stronger. Now, despite the improved means we use, we need psychotherapy and massages. Even doctors need to be trained in massage therapy. Today you see carpenters with pot bellies. There was no such thing back in our days. Moving the plane back and forth made pot bellies disappear. When the conveniences become excessive, we are rendered useless and lazy. Even though we can do something manually, we think, no, I'd rather press a button and it will turn by itself. When we get used to doing things the easy way, it is natural that we want to have it easy all the time. Today, people want to work a little and get paid a lot. If they could get away with not working at all, that would be even better. The same spirit has entered the spiritual life. We want to become saints without exerting ourselves. People who live easy lives and are spoiled usually have bad health. They are so spoiled that if a war were to break out, they would not be able to survive it. In the old days, even children were tough and could endure a lot. Now we cannot live without vitamins B, C, and D, and a Mercedes. Do you see how an atrophied child's arms strengthen the minute he or she starts working? Many parents come and tell me, my child is a paraplegic, when the child only has a weakness in his legs. They feed him and the child just sits all of the time. The more they feed him, the more he stays idle, and the more his legs atrophy, so that he ends up in a wheelchair. Pray for my child, they say. He is paralyzed. Now tell me who is paralyzed, the child or the parents. I advise them to give their children non-fattening foods and have them walk as much as possible. When they do that, they lose weight and slowly they start moving normally. They even play soccer. God will help children that suffer from serious paralysis and cannot be held by human means. Once in Konica, there was a child that was very difficult. He was always acting out. This child has been burned by a bomb. His leg had shrunk and he could not stretch it out. But because he was always so restless, he moved his leg all the time until it eventually came back to its normal length. He even joined the guerrillas under Napoleon Zervas. When I had sciatica, I said the Jesus prayer while walking and my leg got stronger. Many times movement helps. If I fall sick for a couple of days and cannot move, I say, my God, help me to get up and move a little, and I will do my part. I will go and cut some wood. Remaining in bed makes things worse. As soon as I gather the willpower, even if I have a bit of a cold, I force myself to get up and cut some wood. What I do is dress warmly to sweat the cold off. Of course, I know that it's more comfortable to lie in bed, but I force myself to get up and it all goes away. For example, I see that when I have company and I sit on the log for a long time, I become stiff. I could of course find a little rug to place underneath for more comfort, but then I would have to find one for all my visitors. That is why at night, after they leave, for an hour I go out walking and recite the Jesus prayer. And because I have some circulation problems in my lower legs, when I return from my walk, I try to stretch them a little. If I were to let myself go, I would need to be served. This way I am able to serve others. Do you see what I mean? This is why we should not take pleasure in too much rest. It is not good for us. Geronda, are comforts always harmful? Look, sometimes comforts are necessary. If you're in pain, for example, you must sit on something soft. But why should it be made of velvet? It can be made of a simpler fabric. And if you are tough, if you have bravery as a true nun, you should not even use that. Geronda, people use the expression, he is an old bone. Yes, near the Calavi lived a Cypriot monk, Elder Joseph of Carpathia. He was 106 years old, but he would take care of his needs by himself. Where can you find people like him today? Some pensioners cannot even walk. Their legs weaken. They put on weight because they sit around all day, so their legs become useless. But if they were active, their health would be so much better. Eventually, they took Elder Joseph to Varaperi monastery. They washed and bathed him and took care of him. Do you know what he said to them? The minute I got here, I became sick. You have made me sick. Take me back to my Calavi. So they were forced to take him back. Then one day I went to see him. What happened? I asked him. I heard you went to the monastery. Yes, I did, he replied. They took me down there by car. They washed and cleaned me up and took care of me, but I got sick. Take me back, I told him. As soon as I got it here, I became well. He cannot see well at all now, and yet he is plating combustione. Once I sent him some angel's hair pasta, and he said, does Elder Paisios take me for a sickling, that he sends me angel's hair pasta? He is in such good health that he can eat all kinds of beans, garbanzo beans, white beans, broad beans. He is fit and daring like a young man. He walks with 2 canes and collects wild greens from the fields. He sows onion seeds and carries water to wash his clothes and his face. He then goes and reads the church services and the Psalter. He does his canon and prays the Jesus prayer. You should have seen him when he hired some workmen to fix the roof. He climbed the ladder with his 2 canes to watch the work in progress. Get down, they told him. No, I will climb up because I want to see how you do it, he said. He tries very hard. He suffers for sure. But do you know how happy he is? His heart flutters from joy. The fathers take his clothes secretly to wash them. Once I asked them, how do you take care of your clothes? Oh, he said, they take them secretly and wash them. But I wash them too. I soak them in the wash tub with some detergent and rub them clean. Do you see how much he trusts God? While others who have everything suffer from phobias and all kinds of ailments. Pampering made this man ill. When they stopped caring for him, his health returned. The easy life does not help. Comfort is bad for monks and nuns. A comfortable life is not honorable for those who live in the desert. Perhaps you were spoiled before you came here, but now, if you are in good health, you must get used to hardship. Otherwise, you are not a true monastic.